So module 2 I will start. We'll skip this slide. We already seen objective in the previous module, so I will skip this. Okay, so before we start PID, here is a context. So let me set the context first. AGM is going on of your company, and in the AGM your operational manager is presenting, and he is presenting annual report. Annual report, how do we stand out today? Whether we stand out, whether we are standing at the same level as our peers. And he's saying last year, so obviously when we're starting AGM, so AGM is typically in the month of August, September, and it is performance of last financial year. So your operational executive is saying last year we had both good and tough time. This year hopefully we'll be doing good. Now to this statement, obviously there won't be too many buyers. So one question is, good to hear that, but can we see the reports? What is the basis? You're saying previous year was good and tough, and next year is going to be good. So what are the numbers where are the numbers which will support this? So number can be represented in graphical form as well. So your manager is saying, your executive is saying, yes, definitely, let's have a look at the report. And that's where report kicks in. He is presenting a report in tabular form. He is reading the report. We have done really good in last 6 months. We'll be growing this year also, but probably in the first 6 years, that report was not too good. But somebody is saying, okay, the report you're presenting is too detailed. So can't rely only on words. We require detailed report to analyze. Okay, so here is a graphical representation. So not only tabular representation, but we can do graphical representation. What are the advantages? We already mentioned, we already seen in the module 1. So reporting is a nice way to share the information. It can have visualization, you can filter the data at runtime, which is ad hoc reporting, then derived from historical data. So historical data is something which is proven, which has happened. So you can derive meaningful data out of your past experience. It is the key to decision makers. So these are the key features of reporting. So why didn't you use graphical representation to present details of report? That would have done the job better. And the executive doesn't have a graphical report at that time. He could have used nice tool like PID to come up with that graphical report, and he could have made that presentation much impactful. So again, same context. So basically in the meetings, simple words may not do the job. So even you must have experience in one or many of your meetings. If you are presenting the status, key stakeholders, they are not interested in numbers, like so many features are made available, so many features in progress, but they will be interested in your chart. So the chart which talks about thousands of words, so that will immediately give you, okay, here are the here is my chart XY, and out of 100 features, 50 are already in place, they are on production, 25 are in staging, and they are already QA'd and in UAT state, and 10 are in development state. So if you give them bar chart which will depict this, that will say 1000 words. And next time he is prepared, and here is the annual report. It gives much more insightful data with minimal words, maximum visualization, and you don't need to talk even too much. So you will get many buyers for such nice report. And this is what we are going to achieve. That is the plan at the end of our course. Reporting tools in the market. So before we dive deeper into PRD, we must know who are the competitors. Why should we go for PRD? Now, in commercial, we have active reports dedicated to .NET platform. So if you are .NET guys, this may be the option. If you are Java wanted to embed in Java, obviously this is not the choice. Actuate report, we have seen this is one of the BI solution based on BIRT. Crystal report, again coming from SAP. Actually SAP took over lately. Cognos BI coming from IBM. ClickView have reporting solution. Then SAS, MS SQL, Tableau, these are few more offerings. Open source, they have Jasper report and Eclipse-based, which is truly open source. Then Pentaho Report Designer and Spango BI. So these are few offerings. You may have more offerings as well apart from this. Anybody has worked on reporting tool other than Pentaho Report Designer? Okay, so Somesh and what? Okay, let's move ahead. I have used Pentaho Report Designer. What is so special about that? The next question. So here are the facts. Why should somebody go for Pentaho Report Designer? The first is obvious questions which we saw. Why somebody go for Pentaho? This is few of the facts will remain same. Open source, huge community support, almost 14,000 odd members are supporting them. Matured enough, so it started. It has 15 years old history. So it is evolved over the time period. Then it is catering to various business requirements. We have already seen one case study, and we have already seen it is running in so many production houses already. Then supports sub-report features, rich set of charts and graphs. It has good support of connectivity. You can connect with RDBMS, you can connect with MDX. Community data access is another channel through which you can connect to different data sources. Then you can use scripting, static table definitions, you can use hard-coded data as well to support your findings. It supports NoSQL as well, so you can connect to Cassandra or MongoDB and pull out the data and present it in the report. Other than that, it also you can connect to Edge-based directly from PRD and pull the data. It has two main components. One is designer, report designer, and second is reporting engine. So reporting engine is residing at the bottom, and on top of that designer is built. You can use only reporting engine, which can be embedded in your existing application, and you can use their API, and using that you can embed in your existing application. So that's very good flexibility. Okay, we have already seen two components, report designer and reporting engine, and the third one is reporting SDK. So when you are using report designer, you will have report designer and reporting engine. So reporting engine has mainly chart-based support. So chart-based components are integrated in reporting engine. It can be embedded in any Java reporting library. So it is a jar. Can be used at server side as well as client side. So if you are using Swing based applications, so you can embed in the client side application as well. And then there is reporting SDK. So using SDK, you can query. It is pluggable. You add it in the jar. So this reporting engine is already included with Designer, but SDK is something which is taken out of this reporting Designer, and only SDK you can embed when you don't want to use Designer as a feature and you just want to use SDK. So we are going to dive deeper anyways in Designer, so we'll skip Designer features here, but it is typical, again, VB based feature. It drag and drop. What you see is what you get. That type of UI is there. As we already seen, it comes in two flavors. One is Designer, second is SDK. If you want to design the reports at client side, go for PRD. If you want to embed it, you're advanced user, you have already designed the templates, you just want to consume them, then go for SDK. Both, by the way, SDK and PRD both are running hand in hand. So you will see both versions are same. Right now they are at 5.1. I have installed Pentaho. Okay, so at this slide I would like to ask, anybody has installed Pentaho Report Designer already? Okay, so there is an installation doc already available with LMS. You can use it, you can install it, you can play with it, and it would be really great. That will help you guys if you have it already installed, played with it, and keep it ready so that by the time you come to next module, you will have some hands-on experience. So navigating to PRD home is nothing but where you have exploded your PRD related folder. Typically all their installables comes in zip folder. You have to unzip it, and in the unzip you'll see in PRD unzip, when you'll unzip you'll see these artifacts. The configuration template is there, docs. Configuration template contains configuration related template, like if you want to configure JNDI, so your username, password, hostname, then this is the place where you should go for. Then docs, if you want to dive deeper, read more material, then docs are available. Again, docs may be referring to previous version. I already mentioned in the last module, last session. Lib is where their jars will be placed. It contains different jars as well as third-party jars as well. Then plugins is where you can configure plugin. You can, if you want to use connect big data or MongoDB, then they have different plugins, and those plugins will be need to be copied under plugins folder, because each plugin will have its own set of properties. So from that perspective, it is easier. That's the reason it is not kept under the lib, but it is created in the separate folder. Then resources is where Pentaho reporting configuration files are kept, at which are used by report designer. So you may have resource bundles which needs to be kept in resources. Then samples, PRD is coming with a set of samples, and samples are based on that steel wheels data. So you can use all those samples templates, PRPT files will be kept here. Then templates is something you okay, so you can read. Madhu Janki is asking, where can I find information about plugin? You can read in the docs and you will see plugins, but The plugins currently available in plugins folder will be big data, and whenever we'll be touching data source connections, we'll also be covering that. So if you want to dive deeper upfront and do that pre-preparatory work, then go to Info Center. I have shared the link in further reading, Info Center of Pentaho, infocenter.pentaho.com, and that's where you can read this. You just type in plugin and it will give you reference materials. Then template is the one where it is typical templating, or in a real more analogous, you can correlate it with the theme. Windows have themes, your mobile app, mobile OS has theme. If you have using Android or using Windows, I don't know iPhone whether they have generic themes or not. So template is nothing but themes. They have some predefined themes. You can define your own theme and you can use it when creating new report. Changelog, this is what I was mentioning. If you'll open it, you'll find it pretty old changelog, but latest changelog is missing. So they have tried to capture it in changelog, what it changed. Launcher.jar is the one which is used to launch designer view. Then these are properties, so how much memory you want to assign to launcher initially. This is the licensing term, readme. Then report designer. So report designer.bat, which you will be using to launch, and sh you will be using for Linux. This is where it will set environment variables, and depending on your requirement you can configure it. So for Windows you will be using report designer.bat. Linux it will be .sh. For Macintosh they are distributing separately, and there you will find .app as a folder. So once you click you can launch it. How to start? So we have seen how to start. You just double click reporting.bat and report designer.bat and it will start. Now once you start first time, then so much you can correlate, you can go to your, is there any question? Okay, yeah. So you can go to your user home and you can see .pentaho directory, and others also. Whenever you will install it, you will unzip and you will first time run it, then you will see .pentaho folder will be created under your users home. So users home again will be different for Windows users, will be different for Linux user. So I was just going through this hierarchy of .pentaho folder. So it will have caches that will, as the name says, it will cache a few resources which are used extensively by report designer. So it will cache like artifacts like fonts, samples, and which will help to speeding up report rendering. Then it has classic engine folder which will cache directory containing low-level options. So again, the caching format. Typically you won't find anything here, classic engine. Internally it is being used. So few things will go in classic engine, few things will go in caches folder. Then logs is where it is pushing the logs. And why they have kept it under .pentaho? Because single user can use same PID home. So how to distinguish which log is for which user? So that's why logs folder is under users home under .pentaho. Report designer is where it will cache your samples, distributed samples, as well as user preferences. So again, it is a desktop tool. You may have your own customized preferences, so that will be saved in report designer. Simple JNDI. So actually the name simple is misleading. It should have been just JNDI, but this is open source and it's been there since long, so it is still same. So JNDI is where you will keep your JNDI related configuration. So there will be one .properties file. We are going to see it study it and configure it. So that's where you will configure your JNDI. By default, it will have one JNDI configuration, which will be HSQLDB sample. Now this is designer layout. When you start the report designer, you will see UI like this. First is welcome screen, and on the welcome screen, this is a small pop-up. So because of this border, probably you may not be able to see this as a pop-up, but this is a pop-up. It is showing you these are the samples, and here is the report wizard. And if you want to start right away with the new report, you can click on new report, and the welcome page will go away, and you can go to the blank reporting mode. What is report wizard? So report wizard is the one which we won't be covering with example, because it is just clicking on next, and just configuring. Once you have configured the data source, then you have to just select the data source, select the columns, and it is as good as any installation of any tool where you just click on next, and at the end it will render the report. So report wizard, what is report wizard? So this is what you can achieve using report wizard. It is 4-step. So 4 times you'll have to click on next, and before clicking on next, of course you'll have to configure appropriate step. So first step is look and feel. You can select. So these are the templates, and there are 4 templates: cobalt, jade, maple, and nickel. So you can select one of your favorite, and the next steps, 4 steps are there, where you can select data source and query. Then layout step, where you will select what all columns you need. So you'll have to select layout, and then format step. So you can do formatting. So if you want to do something, you want to make something bold facet, then you can choose that, some italics letters. If it is numeric, then you can use numeric formatting. And this is what is report wizard. So using this, by clicking few next and by configuring each step, you can do it nice reporting. You don't get too much flexible options here, because once you select a template, you cannot change it in the reporting wizard. Though in the report individually you can change it. Somesh is asking, can I add my own template? Somesh, yes, you can add your own template. That is pretty much possible. Now this is the other layout. So we have seen a reporting wizard. Now we will dive deeper and start with our new empty report. So let's how do you go to a new report? So one option is from welcome screen. You can click on new report. That will take you to empty report window. Or else you can click on new, Control N. So it will create empty report, and the canvas is of yours. Whichever way you want, you can put elements. So now this new report is open. You can see in the center canvas, page header, report header, details are there, and the report is empty. On the top, you can see main toolbar. Below main toolbar, there are toolbars. Sorry, on menu bar, below menu bar, there is toolbar. And this arrow, green arrow, you can see, which is typically used to execute the report. Not only report, this is standard across all Pentaho tools. To execute your data integration job, transformation, again the same similar type of button will be there on that UI. So you'll have to use it to execute. Rest of the tools, as and when we are working on the example, you'll be getting familiar with. Below the toolbar, there is tabulated view. As you can see, there are two tabs open, untitled report and untitled report 1. If the report name is same, then it will keep appending 1, 2, 3, 4 chronological order. Then on the left side, you can see the palette of elements. So these elements you can drag and drop on your reporting canvas. Depending on your requirement, you can put it appropriately in respective band, whether it is page header element or reporting header element, or it can be component of details like chart. So depending on that, you will have to put it in appropriate bucket, appropriate band. So there are a bunch of palettes available. You can see it on the left side. Then you can see this wherever this red border outline is there, that is the portion that particular slide is explaining. So just focus on that red bordered portion. Now this particular slide is depicting the canvas report workspace, where that workspace is divided into bands, and you can add your custom band as well. So within details you can add your bands. So band 1, band 2, band 3, and within that band, then why to add band? Because one band you can assign one layout type. So that is why you may need adding band. On the right side, you can see these two tabs, structure and structure and data. Structure pane is used to show exact hierarchy included in the report, and data tab contains data related information like what data sets you are using, then what are the environmental variables. If it is data set has query, then you will double click on that and it will open that query as well. At the bottom, you can see style and attribute, two tabs. Style, as name says, you can configure formats, style sheets. On the right side, another one is attribute. Attribute is to configure data mapping. So if you want to connect that particular field with proper data which is coming from data tab, then this particular attributes will be used. Other than data, you can also configure styles, like you can assign style class, which is not available in style tab. So few configuration are available in attributes tab. So this is structure of master report, which is coming from structure tab. This particular group now belong to north region, and now after that header your details will follow. At the bottom you can see at north region we are doing so and so. This is the profit we are deriving. So far the growth is very good, so no need to focus too much on north region. So that type of footer comment you can add in group footer. In details body, that is where actual data you will be represented. All the details of that particular region, performance numbers will be arranged. Few charts if you want you can add. Again, details will have header and footer. So this is a common for each default head elements or what we can say, page, report, group and details. These four elements will have header and footer. So like page header, page footer, report header, report footer, group header, group footer, and details header, detail footer. So each of these four types will have details as well. Watermark is the one. Okay, in details part, if there is no data, then they have defined one extra band, no data. So it is possible that, especially when you're selecting from drop down and you're selecting South region, and in South region you're about to start, so far there is no data, then in that case, in no data, you have to add some comment, and that will be embedded at runtime. So you can say, sorry, there is no data available so far, and after a quarter you can see some data. So visit after quarter. Watermark is the feature where you can add watermark so that you can make it confidential. Whenever you take printout, it will be prominent, so information cannot be misused, as well as branding and trading will be preserved. Now we'll be seeing, okay, so while I show you, I will also start Pentaho reporting on my machine. So I'm going to report designer 5.1 folder, and this is report designer.bat. And I'm starting, and typically it takes a few seconds, 15-20 seconds to start, and during that it loads its libraries. So typically whenever you create launch your Eclipse also, or any IDE, it configures, it pulls the data into cache or into memory, and then it launches. So that's what it does. And in the flash screen it tells you this is the version 5.1.0.0-752. So that is the latest version available. And this is the home screen. Can you guys see my screen? I have just switched from slide show to Pentaho report designer. Okay, so Mesh and Madhu are saying yes, so I believe everybody is able to see. Yeah, so this is the welcome screen. Now instead of explaining on slide, I will explain here only. So these are the this is the welcome page. You can see advanced charts. These are the default examples, and if you'll open, these are actual reports, report names. And we'll skip this and we'll launch new reports. So you can click on file and click on new, and it will open this new page, empty report. You can see the ruler. You can change the page size from page setup, and there are different predefined sizes, letter, transverse. If you use extended, okay, so letter extra, if you use that, then you'll see right now it is how much, around 7.5 inches, and if I'll use letter extra, then it is increased. Okay, so it was previously 6.5 inches, I guess, and then now it is 7.5 inches. And okay, so now let me switch back to slideshow. So this is how you can launch the new report, empty report, and these are different labels. And this is an example, page header, report header. These are examples. So we will quickly drop labels here. So page header, and the value if you want to assign to label, there are two ways. One is you just double click, and you can see this two dots, a three dots button. So click on that, it will pop up the label one. Rename it to page header so that we can distinguish at runtime. This is coming from page header. Now we'll increase the size just to make it prominent. So we'll make it 20. And so by default word wrap is on. Word wrap is on. So we can resize it. Again, it is YCYG, so you can resize using mouse. You can drag it, drop it, whichever way you think it is best, soothing to your eyes. Then reporting header we will add label and reporting header. Now if you want to copy the format and paste it here, rather than you again doing the same thing, you can just say copy, and so you can click on Ctrl C as well, and while pasting you just right click and say paste formatting. That's it. So it just paste formatting, not style. So resizing part still you will have to do. Now you can see this G, or here also G is cutting off. The reason is because its height is less, and you can increase the height. So here it is 20, so rather than 20 we will change it to 30, and you can see this G prominently visible. Now details, we'll quickly add details. Now reporting footer, while adding, rather than going through that approach, I'll show you another approach where you can see value on the attribute tab is label. So here you can change it to report footer. And here is page footer. And now I'm going to apply formatting here. At a time you can apply to 3 elements formatting. So you'll have to hold down shift key and select all 3 elements and then click on formatting, paste formatting, and you can select these 3 and resize by increasing the width. So it is 100%, I will make it 200%, sorry, 200 pixels, and height also I can make it 30. Yeah, so we're done. We added labels to all the visible bands. And how do you execute the report? So you don't need to save the report. Okay, Somesh is saying, are you going to cover the expressions? Somesh, I am going to touch base the expression. In couple of examples, expressions will be used, but that will be at high level. So assuming that you guys are new to Pentaho report designing, not only Pentaho reporting, but overall Pentaho you will be new. So with that context, I'll be covering. I believe you are the one who is already using Pentaho reporting. So if you are already using Pentaho reporting, for you those expression may be not complex. But yeah, I'll be touch basing. If you have any specific questions, you can ask, and I can answer those questions. Yeah, so how do you execute the reporting? So this is the green arrow button. You just click there. So it pops you up these many options. First is print preview. So you can just do print preview just like other print preview. Then you can generate the report in different formats: PDF, HTML, old Excel format, then Excel 2007 format, RTF text, and CSV. So we'll do first print preview. So you can see page header, okay, this small label, okay, this is misplaced it seems. Then page header, reporting footer, and there is, for details, there is nothing because nothing is coming in the details. We haven't added any query, so no data is available in the details. So details is missing here, and page footer is appeared at the bottom. Now to make these details visible even if there is no data, in that case we'll have to add something in the no data, and by default no data is turned off. So you just right click on no data and you can see hide element which is checked. You just unchecked it, and now you can see no data. This band was by default hidden because typically when you are working on reporting, you are mainly interested in visible data, not invisible data. So this is rare test case scenario. That's why default setting is no data is invisible. Now we will add label here. So if you will observe, even if I just click, if my report is selected, I just click, it adds the label. No, I will say sorry, no data available, and we'll copy it and paste the formatting, resize it, and when now this time will execute in PDF. Yeah, so you can see page header, and here you can see sorry, no data available, and then reporting footer and page footer. So each header has corresponding footer, and details, basically there is no details data, so no data available is getting appeared. So this was our first example. Now we already studied this. Yeah, so this was the slide which we have covered. Now let's understand the general workflow. We just studied labels, and that was very basic example. We are going to dive deeper, and so we have given two modules for Pentaho report designing. So today and tomorrow we'll be covering PRD. So today is going to be introduction and basic. Tomorrow we'll dive deeper and understand more advanced features. Sorry, not tomorrow, next session. So next Saturday. So to create a report using a report designer, here are the following steps. First step, you'll have to configure your data source. Whatever way, whatever data source you want to connect from plethora of different options. You can have table, you can have database, files, HDFS data or OLAP data. So make sure you configure that. That is the first step. Second step, add appropriate queries. Obviously, once source is configured, how are you going to pull the data? Okay, Somesh is asking report designer, how report designer executes the report, or route me where I can find that. Okay, so I believe you, what do you mean by how it executes report designer? Do you mean how it is reading the file, PRPT file, collating the information at runtime and producing the report? Is it what you are trying to understand, Somesh? Okay. Probably that will be too deeper, but I will definitely send out a link to support, and support you will get that information from support, because that will be best topic of advanced reporting, not also Pentaho, just specific reporting. So yes, definitely that's interesting, and I know you are already studying, so you know too much about Pentaho reporting already. So I will pass on the information to support, and you can yeah, so whoever wants, you can connect with support and they can share that information. So after configuring the data source, you will have to write a query which will pull only required data. So next task is writing query based on your requirement. The third task is, once you have data available, now how are you going to represent it? So you will design the report, add appropriate data elements, and do mapping, data mapping, so that okay, this is my text field. My text field should be mapped to region. So I will do that mapping, and details will have tables. tables have 4 fields, they will be mapped to dimensions and then fact. So that type of task you will be doing in this third step. Then comes styling. So this is most important. Even if you are a developer, I'm sure you must be landed up in a role of designer. Although typically designer is going to be specialized skill set, but everybody has to play that role interchangeably. So how I can make my report looking very rich, which can stand out from the crowd. So you will have to add styles. Again, this supports different styles. You can add extra graphical elements. It supports graphical charts as well. So bar chart and spike line chart, multiple charts it supports. As well as you can add background color and make it standing out. So borders, different styles you can use to make it rich. Then the next step is add analytical abilities. So you can create formulas, as Sumesh was asking, expressions. You can add expressions. You can calculate the field. So at runtime, depending on some value of your column, you want to make a decision. Okay, if my region is south, and because south operations is not started, you can make that particular element of data not available very highlighting. So red background and yellow font face, font text color. So that type of calculated fields are possible. Check the preview. So before you running the PDF, actually creating the job, you can check the preview, make sure it is coming up properly, and then you can go for the another generating the report, because generating report has more overheads than seeing preview. When you generate the report internally, basically this is what in fact Somesh's question was. Internally it creates raw report and then it adds conversion engine, and depending on your end format, whether it is PDF, whether it is Excel, whether it is HTML, it converts that raw report to PDF. So it has PDF engine. For Excel, again it is using open standard, so they call it what, OOXXL. So that engine it is using to convert your report to Excel. So this is what it does in the second last step. Then you will have to publish the report. So if you want to publish the report, you can publish it to Pentaho BA server. How to publish this report to Pentaho BA server, that will be covering in the last module, because by the time you should have also covered BA server. So that's the reason we'll be covering this particular example in the last module. You can integrate it with PDA job as well. So when we'll be covering PDI, we will be covering example of this as well. Or the best way, the simplest way we just saw, you can locally create PDF or any other format which is of your need. Now these are the supported data sources. JDBC, the most common. You will have to make sure you have added appropriate JDBC driver. If, for example, if we'll be using MySQL extensively, so you'll have to make sure MySQL jar, JDBC jar is added in the lib folder. Pentaho design tools. Okay, so first Pentaho design tools you can skip, because this is you can change it with PRD home, and then in fact report designer. So first 3 for hierarchy is PRD home, and then lib, under that lib folder you are going to copy JDBC jar. Metadata is another data source, so you can configure metadata as well in Pentaho reporting. Then metadata, Pentaho data integration. So if you have some ETL job running, and at the end ETL is spitting data in terms of table, then you can use PDI as well to connect as a data source. So we are talking about all data sources which are supported by PID. Then there is OLAP, multidimensional data source. You have support for OLAP as well, and by default it supports Mondrian. Then Pentaho analysis. This is a Mondrian schema file, so you can feed that Pentaho analysis schema file and it will route the query through that schema file and pull the data. Then Pentaho analysis denormalize. So again Mondrian schema file which will be denormalized. So both are actually same, last two. So this is rich set of data sources which PID is supporting. We are going to cover JDBC support for examples, from examples perspective. Now in our previous example which we have demonstrated, we haven't saved that file yet. But okay, so these are remaining data sources which are also supported. XML, again nowadays most of the stuff is coming into XML. So XML is also supported, but you'll have to use XQuery as a query interfacing language for that. Then table, so you can have static table which you can create, or you can create hard-coded, or you can create from imported Excel file. So in fact this example we are going to cover today. Okay, Somesh is saying can you add example with PDA as data source? Okay, Somesh, I don't give I cannot give guarantee at this time. I will see if time permits. I will definitely try to add. Let me note it. Yeah, so I will see if I can add example of PDI as a data source. If not in the next session, yeah, before completing our module, or maybe yeah. So in the project that would be good point. Yeah. So anyways, for project we have almost 3 weeks to go. So in the project I will try to add it. NoSQL. Okay, the table I was saying, yeah. So we are going to cover example of table. NoSQL also you can connect, and NoSQL actually we are going to cover one example of PDI. So PDI, how can you connect to NoSQL, which is MongoDB, which we will be seeing in the example. Then big data. So big data is supported by all the client tools. Let it be PID, let it be PDI, or even BA server. And as far as example is concerned, big data we are going to see a couple of examples in PDI. Then these are few advanced data sets, or rather I would put it customized data sets. You can write some SQL and you want to use that outcome of that SQL, so that record set as a data source. So that is also possible. Or these are scriptable, so you can use JavaScript or Bean Shell. These are different scripts, and using that you can generate some custom data set, and that can also be feed as a possible data source. Then using JMI, Java method invocation, you can allow designer to access data via Java method. This is more basically using too flexible feature of PID and dynamically changing the method name. So it is through API support you can achieve this Java method invocation. So these are rich set of data sources supported by PID. In day-to-day basis, you can connect to JDBC, that is the most common scenario, or you may end up connecting to PDI, because PDI in turn is connecting to JDBC, and you are doing a lot of ETL stuff. So rather than you pushing the data from PDI to some RDBMS and PRD is connecting to that RDBMS, you can complete that flow there. Or another common scenario could be you can connect PRD to some NoSQL based database. Or there is a huge data made available in CSV format or fixed file format or Excel format, then that can be also sucked in PRD. So that is another common format, another common use case. Now PRD use case of top 5 companies. You are working, here is a problem statement. You are working in a market research firm and data of top 5 companies you want to see with the respective profits and sales figures. This is the most common use case when it comes to business, because obviously business is created to make money. So profit and sales figures are most important. So this is a typical use case scenario. And now you have to share this data to your clients. And visualization will be bar charts, which will help doing comparative study, profit versus sales, helping the clients to take a right decision on their investment. Now data set for the problem statement is available in LMS. So this is the example. This is the problem statement for our example. You have to get top 5 companies with their respective profit and sales. Now let's go step by step. You'll have to first add the data source. Now how to add the data source? You go to data set, data, then create new data report in PRD. Click on data tab and okay, so let me start that example here. Now I will remove everything from here. Switch to data tab. Do right click here and say table. Let's cross. Yeah, so here the right click has pop up this and you clicked on table, select table. So select table is the most convenient form to use. In fact, this is very convenient for business users as well. They can generate report based on table data. Now there is no available query, so you'll have to click on plus. So this small plus button in the green circle you can see, click on that. It will say query 1. You can see it has added by default one row where it is saying ID, which is by default it is assigning us data type as java.lang.string. The whole Pentaho stack is based on Java, so you will see a lot of Java terms. The value, again it is saying it is java.lang.string. This is the default data type. If you will click on, there is a way to change. You double click and you can change it. You can assign different data type. And then to switch back to normal mode, you will have to click on bottom. Okay, it's not allowing me to go to. Okay, so you'll have to click on different column header, then it will go up. Now we are going to import. Okay, let's name it. Let's see what name I have given. Okay, it's default. So we'll name the query as default. Now we're not going to type in all the data manually. So we have the data set which is available in the Excel file. Let me pull the data. Okay. where is yeah, so this is the example. You can see I have opened one Excel, and you can see this is arranged in multi-dimensional fashion. So company is one dimension, country is another dimension, series one dimension, and this is a fact. As I said, measure and fact are used interchangeably. Now this is the format, this is the our input data which we'll be using for our example. So this is the data of Forbes top 100 companies, the latest data. So here you can see the small buttons. The first one is where you can add empty row. Then second button is add empty column. So if two columns are not sufficient, you can add empty column. And if you want to import the spreadsheet, so at the bottom you can see there is import spreadsheet. Just click on that and you can see this Forbes top 100 2014 3D. So just open it and it will start importing. It will import the sheet, but it will confuse. Now which one to choose, because in our Excel if you see there are two sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2. So this is for a different example, but sheet 1 has three-dimensional data, so multi-dimensional data. So we'll select, okay, let me cross check here which one we're selecting. Yeah, so we are selecting sheet 1. And now you can see by default, in fact this checkbox is there, use first row as a header. So automatically it will take the column headers as header of these columns. Column header of Excel, it will take header. So these are the column header, company, country, series, measure. It has taken automatically as column header of table as well here. Now data format, by default it will assign every column as data format as string. But here intelligently it has assigned data format as double. So we are good. Now you can see there are top 10. So basically in the slide we have mentioned top 5, but here there are top 10. And this is the outcome of PDI. So you can assume this data has been okay, and this data is generated out of your crunching, cleansing, ETL process. So you have derived this top 5 data set, out of which 5 belonging to sales, 5 belonging to profit. Now you will click on OK and we will add bar chart and we will define the series. So configure the bar chart in such a way that we can have 2 bars, one for sales and one for profit. So click on OK. So we are done with configuring data part from the workflow. Now we will add bar chart. Now feel free to resize this because we want to make sure bar should be visible. So all these bands are resizable. They are just using mouse dragging. Hold down your mouse, and when the mouse arrow is expandable mode, and then you can resize it. Now on the left side in the palette you can see chart element. this is the chart element, and you can drag and drop. Just double click on it. So there are different types of charts supported by Pentaho, and these are the variety of charts. We are interested in bar chart, so by default bar chart is already selected. Now you have to assign the chart title, top 5 global companies. So by default it's not scroll, it is not scrolling, but it is, I have typed top 5 global companies. Then you have, when you are working on chart, you have series. Okay, let's understand basic elements of charts. Bar chart. Okay, this. Yeah, here from this slide, this will be more prominent. So you can see the range I have selected, title to y-axis, set from left panel like chart title, x-axis, y-axis title. This is all free flow text. You can type in whatever you want. But on right side, if you see, category set data collector, and that is where you will have to configure. You will have to map with appropriate data elements. So we have, like you can see, category column. So what is the category? So category is nothing but your company. So you can have multiple categories. Actually, you can have multiple series. Category is going to be common. So because you are analyzing comparative performance for companies. So you are going to have categories as common company, but you can have multiple series. And that's where you want to add 2 elements. Where is the 2 elements? Okay, first we will add one basic bar chart, and then we will study how to add second element. So we are going to select country here. You can see in the drop box, whatever columns we have, whatever data we have imported, it had 4 columns. All 4 columns are appeared here. Now in category column, we are going to select country. Then in value column is always either fact or measures. Again, both names are interchangeable. Here there is no drop down, but it is pop up, and here again you can choose measure, and there is a right arrow. Click on that, it will be selected. Now here series by field, you can add. First we will select measure, series, country, company. We will select series. Okay, so series we have selected, and series has, okay, series has already sales as well as profit. Both component are already selected. Sorry, I got it clicked multiple times. So here is the cross button, you can remove it. Click on OK. Yeah, so series has already data arranged in such a way that our both series are already there. So you don't need to add multiple series here. Now but the provision is there. You can add multiple series. You can select multiple elements from the left side and push it here. So depending on your hierarchy, because this is when it is multidimensional data, it depends on the hierarchy. What what is your requirement, and depending on requirement you will have to choose appropriate hierarchy. So that's how it supports drill down. And you anything required, chart title we have added, and okay, so let's not change anything. We just added chart title and we have mapped the fields. Category column, we have added country. Value columns we mapped with values, which is measure, and series by field, which is series. Now click on OK and let's try to execute. We'll execute in print preview. So you can see the charts, but you're not able to see all the elements in one go because there are 5 companies which are top 5 companies, and you're able to see only 2 companies. Even if you will generate the report, a few of you might think, okay, it's in print preview, that's why it's not showing, but even in PDF it is not showing complete chart. So there is something more to configure. Now we'll quickly go through slide because that's what you're going to go through, and that should make more sense. So here the next element what we're going to configure from chart is x-axis level rotation. Make it 45 degree so that it will be visible. So x-axis level rotation, by default it is all exploded, so you can switch it. It should work, but I'm not sure why it is not working. But you can explode. Okay, only selected stuff it is working. So you can zip the unwanted stuff, and we are interested in x-axis level rotation. You can type in 45, which will say, okay, I want to rotate the level to 45 degrees, and you can see in print preview this China is now rotated in 45 degrees, so is United States. Now again go to configuration of bar chart. Okay, I'm seeing questions from Somesh. Can you please throw some light on the category column? Series fields in the report, how to determine which one to be placed where. Okay, so Madhu is saying I have selected category as country instead of company. Okay, thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, so category column is where you can see bar chart. Actually I was waiting for the bar chart to get complete, so instead of that I can go to here. Yeah, here. So you can see company is a bottom. At the bottom you can see company, and above one level you can see names of the companies. Okay, so company is a category. So category set, if you want, so one level deeper, then these are the category names, category elements. So if it is company, then these are company names. If it would have been country, then these could have been country names. So this is the category field. Now the second field was value columns. Value columns is pretty clear. So this actually what based on, it is a quantifiable measure based on what quantity you are going to represent that chart. So that is value. Now series by value and series by field. So right now we have selected series by field. So it is going to determine series from field. So this series by field, it is going to classify, okay, I have selected series as a column, so this particular orange and this is yellow. So orange is depicting sales and this profit is depicting yellow is depicting profit. So this is derived from field column, field which is series. If we will switch to Excel and series is this one. So this particular column, it is deriving series and it will aggregate sales, it will aggregate profit, and basically it will identify unique values from series and it will add it as a series by field. If you will say series by value, it is nothing but the value column will be used. So we'll try out that. You remove this and okay, there is no value column. So I am not sure why it is not showing, but okay. So series by value column, I will say it theoretically what happens when you select that column of value. So typically it will have value. Then that value column will be selected and the distinction here you can see sales and profit. So instead of that, in the legend you can see the numbers. You can see the numbers like 100, 200, 300. So you can have this series captured in value column, and that value column needs to be used as a, to create your series. So that's when you will go for series by value. I will give you an example tomorrow. Please change the category first, then leave series as series. Madhu is saying change the category. So Madhu, I am not getting you. So you are saying please change the category first. So fine. So category was in fact I had selected country and it should have been company. Oh, I see. And then I will run the example. So and series by field is we have to select series here. And this is the actual example, our example, and we will do print meshes. So now you can see all 5 charts, because basically previously the configuration was wrong. It was showing only 2 charts, 2 levels, and because the data top 5 companies are coming from United States and China, that's why they were showing 2 countries only. Okay, thanks Madhu for pointing it out. Yeah, so regarding series by value, that the conceptually I have explained, I will demonstrate it tomorrow by example. So I'll see if I can add more dimensions here, and I will show you that example. Now we will configure more because this is looking pretty small. So we will quickly go through other configuration items so that it will look like more enterprise level. You can first of all, you can increase, you can make it maximum occupy. You should not cross your page, and we'll go to its configuration mode, and you can see you can change the font. The rest of the styles, I think you guys, when playing with this example, you can go over it on your own, and in case of queries we can discuss. You can have series color palette defined, and it will pick the series at runtime. So right now it is picking up this one and this one, so orange and yellow. If you don't want that, let's say yellow we don't want, so we will remove that, and the next one is green, so we want, let's say, blue, and we will pull it up and save it. And then when we'll save it, you can see next one, next item in the series taken as blue color. So this tick format you can define. Main, I want to say, so if you have the data in logarithmic scale, so you can use this feature, enable log axis, and in that case we'll have to turn this as well on, log format, and rest of the stuff. Numeric format for values, you can say, let's say this is revenue in dollars, so we'll say dollar. Okay, let's go. I think I have captured it in the slides as well. Okay, I haven't captured it, seems. Okay, so here it is dollar, and numeric format, I believe you guys must have used. And this is the numeric format, and we'll save it, and we will look in preview. Okay, so still you can see actual label values are not getting appeared, so we'll have to configure so that label will get appeared for value. So go to value section, here is values, show item labels, so we'll say show labels, and item label font, let it default, and now we have this format, and we'll so yeah, so now you can see it started appearing. There is a dollar currency logo also added before that, and that standard. Okay, so it seems I made a mistake in numeric format, and instead of 1000 separator I added 100 separator, and let's change it, yeah, here. So it should be 1000 separator, and you can see now it is $121.30. Now these figures, because we know this data is in billion, so we can add hard-coded string at the end of value label as billion, and B for billion. And in fact, there was a rotation, label rotation if required. We can also do that. Yeah, it's not looking good, but for illustration, let me change it. I'm not finding it good at all. So now you can see, oh, what happened? Since I changed somewhere else. Yeah. And for x-axis rotation, I guess, yeah, I removed here. Yeah, so you can see you can customize the label format as well as you can customize the tick. So this is Y tick. Maximum is 175 billion. It is automatically taking, and label formatting we have already done. The blue color it has taken. So these all types of customization you can achieve through that chart configuration window. So this is how you can build a chart, and you can configure data source, which is table data source, which we extracted from Excel. Now these are the basic elements of any bar chart. This is profit versus sales. So this particular chart as a outcome of the report, you can see profit versus chart, which is chart title. Now we in this illustration probably we haven't given chart title. Okay, we have given chart title which is top 5 companies, whereas in this slide it is profit versus sales. Then these are the tick labels. Here they're customized because 150B. So it just customized means added format. Just like here we have added format for value, we have added format for y-axis. So this you can do it on your own, and in case of any issues we can again discuss. This is y-axis range, you can see horizontally. This is x-axis range horizontally. Sorry, this was vertically y-axis range. This is horizontally x-axis range. We don't have a range as such. We have just static elements. So this is orange color is, this is a legend, which is sales and profit. Two elements are there. In the background you can see grid lines. You can turn them on and off depending on your requirement. These element names or terms are very important when especially you are configuring chart element, because all those configurations will be using these terms, and for that you should understand, like for example you need to configure plot background. Then what is plot background you should be aware of. So what is the difference between plot background and chart background? So whatever is in this rectangle box is plot background. Outside that it is chart background. So this is all about bar chart and its basic nomenclature. So let's move on. And this particular chart is useful in doing comparative study. So for example, sales is orange, yellow is profit. Now if you want to say, okay, I am an investor and I want to invest in a company where margin, they are doing business with a smaller margin, because margin is always under a tremendous pressure. If there is new competitor in the market, then margin will go for a toss, which will go under pressure and they will have to reduce the margin. So rather than that, I want to play safe. So where people, the company is making more money on lower margin, I want to look at that. So you can very well look at that, and you can quickly see on the last element, which is Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. So they are doing, okay, so actually it's other way around. They have huge margin, but we want, there is too much sales. Okay, so $179 billion sales and only 20 billion profit. So you can see margin, you can calculate basically this profit divided by sales. So that way, this is the company which is having least margin. So I was right. This is the company which is having least margin in this top 5. So if my investors' perspective was go with low margin, then this is the right investment instrument for me. So that type of decision will be helpful with comparative analysis. What are the different chart types supported by Pentaho? We have seen when you double click on that chart element and you can see on the top horizontal bar, there are different chart types. Now we will see how they're classified quickly. So there are 17 built-in Jeffrey charts, and this is just Jeffrey charts. There is another chart element which is supported, which is bar sparkline. So even bar sparkline, let me reduce it and I'm not able to catch. Yeah. Okay. So these are directly line sparkline. So they are different types of chart, and they are not really based on Jeffrey engine. So we are talking about just Jeffrey engine, which is giving 17 types. On top of that, there are sparkline engine. So these are line sparkline, then bar sparkline. These are, and then pi sparkline. So these are the 3 sparkline charts. They are different plugins, different types of elements coming up with different features. I am personally haven't used too much these sparkline charts because this bar Jeffrey chart is more than enough. And on top of that, we saw just 2 types. Other than these 2 types, there is again there could be more plugins available, which you can download from CTools. So Annie's answer, yeah, there are more charts. There are total 17 built-in Jeffrey charts. And how are they classified? So there are few charts to show the strength. So these are the different patterns depending on industry experience, evolution of experience. If you want to show strength of a trend for a single value over the time, then obviously you can think of line chart. Other thing, you can think of area chart. So these are the charts which will go in this particular bucket. So line chart, area chart, XY step chart, XY line chart. Now the second type of chart pattern is if you want to directly compare. We just saw that comparative analysis, 2 or more related values. So pie chart, ring chart, bar chart. So bar is most common, pie is another common, area chart, radar chart. So depending on your requirement, typically if you are into scientific world, then you will go in ring chart or you will go in area chart because those users are able to correlate too easily. But if you are in general business terms, general business world, sharing the data with layman business users, in that case you'll go with more common charts like bar chart, pie charts. Then the third category is to show one set of values directly affects another. So it is again kind of comparative analysis. So bar line combination and waterfall. So you can see how the trending is happening along with actual values. So that type of comparative analysis you can do. So that is third category. You can mix the chart. Then the fourth category is if you have large data set, you cannot use individual data set data point and plot it on the chart. So in that case, there is different charts So one is scatter chart. You might have used scatter chart, especially those who are having some experience in big data. Then XY difference, bubble chart, multi-grid pie chart. These are few answers for this particular bucket. You can play around these chart types. If you have questions, we can discuss. But as far as illustration is concerned, the bar chart we have already taken in the model. Yeah, so now the most crucial, so far we are just doing example on the fly. Let me save it now. The chart. Before that, let me resize it and I will save it. So I will save it on D drive. Okay, I have, I think, E drive. C colon bar chart example. Oh, it is saying save failed. Okay, probably it's not allowing me to save on my C chart, C drive. So I'll save it on D drive. I have, I think, E drive. Yeah, I have E drive. Yeah, so it is saved. Now if you will go here and bar, so this is the file and this is by default zip file. So PRPT file is nothing but a set of files, bunch of files came together and bundled up in a zip. And when PRD Pentaho Report Designer opens the PRPT file, it first unzip the file, loads appropriate artifacts, and then presents you that designer view. We will open that zip file and we'll see what all different set of files residing in that zip. So I have WinRAR installed on a machine, so you can use WinRAR or yeah, let's go with 7-zip. So any WinZip, any unzip software should be able to unzip it because it is in standard zip algorithm. Now you can see data sources as a folder, you can see meta-NF as a folder, you can see MIME type as a folder, and okay, so we'll correlate with the slide now. So data sources, what does it contain? I'll quickly open and then you can also peep into that. So compound ds.xml, inline ds.xml. So all these are related to data source. DS stands for data source. So data sources contains compound DS, so listing all available data sources used in the report, and it refers to specific DS file. So specific DS is inline DS. Now if you will open that, edit. Okay, this is not nice format. Okay, cool. So Notepad++ is my most favorite editor. So this is the format. It is listing down. Okay, this is the list. The first element is my data factory inline ds.xml. If you would have more data sources for the same report, then it would add that list in this particular node. Now we can see what is there in this individual data source as well. Yeah, so here it is. You can see we had imported Excel file, and from Excel it extracted columns, and those columns are here: column, company, country, and all. Then the data types are also there. Then these are the data details. So for company, it is creating one definition and row by row it is adding the data. This is a typical XML format. This is all about data sources. Meta NF. This contains metadata, which is nothing but brief details of all files present in PRPT. So what all files are there in PRPT, it will present. Okay, let me close that and we'll dive deeper into that as well. Manifest XML. So you can see it explains complete hierarchy, then talks about everything. These data sources we just now saw, 2 files. So basically it's an artifact of or index of all files which are available in the PRPT. Then it is content.xml, contains the script. If you added the script, it will be embedded here in content, then gets passed, which will get passed at runtime. Then apart from that, I think Somesh, I believe you were looking for this as well. So at runtime, when you save it internally, this is how it is aggregating the data, and at runtime it is linking the data. Yeah, so this content again is linking the data. So it has setting.xml, data definition, which are loaded while loading the content. So other than content, content related supporting files are setting.xml, data definition.xml. We will quickly glance at content.xml. Where is nice? Oh, it seems I close it. So content.xml. So content.xml. So far there is nothing because we haven't added any script. But this is the typical node based XML. Then we talked about layout.xml. Layout we are going to cover. So this is the layout we have already covered. Label, we had added label. All the elements will be there. So series column, what is the series column? Expression, if there is any expression. So this is a plain expression where it is just saying namespace. At the top, this is legacy chart. So this is the chart element. And all the settings related to chart element will be embedded under this. So these are the properties we checked about, and we had configured that 45-degree rotation. So we'll see that will be here somewhere. X-axis rotation, right? X-axis rotation. We can search it. Yeah. So this is the rotation, and probably they are converting it into radians. So we are giving in 45 degrees. Internally, it's getting converted to radians. So this is how layout is. All detailed information is captured there. In fact, with the help of SDK, you yourself can write these files, generate these files. So you don't even need to use designer, but that would be too clumsy. In basically, we have to reinvent the wheels. Would be my argument. Data definition contains link to data. That we will quickly check. Data definition. So link to data, and our data source is configured in compound DS, which we have already seen. Data schema describes rules for enriching and mapping metadata. We haven't used, but just so that you will be aware of the XML structure. So this is data schema. Yes, ending element seems formatting was missing. So this is the data schema. So this is the typical layout of PRPT. any report you design from designer, you save it. This will be the file which is generated. And when you want to execute a report from BA server or from embedded your Java application through API, then you are going to feed this PRPT as an input to your reporting engine, and reporting engine will generate report out of this PRPT. So all the setting information is available in PRPT. Okay, layout we have already seen. Metadata.xml, we'll check. So this is metadata.xml, which contains metadata like what PRD version this particular reporting template is prepared from, and date of the creation. So you can see PRPT 5.1.00752, that was the version, and date, exact specific timestamp. Then settings.xml. So this is, I don't think we have opened this. So if at runtime you want to use some specific settings, then you can configure it, and that will start appearing it here. And settings can be applied at master level. So master level is something you can see here. At structure, this is the master report. So at master report, that will be applied. Then styles.xml. So different styles which will be used. So we haven't added watermark. So there is no element style and neither any configuration details of watermark. Then page header also you can add custom style and page footer. So if you will add, it will appear here. Translations.properties, this is something if you want to translate some metadata provided by data source. So if you have business terms and technical terms, if you want to enrich it, so you can describe those rules and translate it, that metadata to business user data. So that translation dictionary will be here. Okay, yeah, see it. So far there is no entry, but you can add, this is nothing but name value pair, you can add that data dictionary. Wizard specification, we haven't used wizard, but if you would have used wizard, then okay, we haven't used, that's why it hasn't even added that wizard specification, but otherwise it will add it there. So this is all about PRPT, and now we'll move to layout. So each band will have layout, and in fact you can see you have seen layout.xml, that's where that details will be captured. Let's switch to our example again. And okay, so here one bar chart is already added. Now this particular report header has the layout. When I click here, automatically on the right side in the structure it is selecting report header, or otherwise from right side you can select and it will select on the left side. So on the report header, if you see, the first property is layout. By default it is undefined. Undefined means it is basically no layout, which wherever you will put drag and drop, that's where that component will reside, that's where it will appear in your report. It is again specific to your requirement. By default it is supporting PRD supporting 4 basic layouts: canvas, block, inline, row, and these are advanced layouts, basically combination of these 4. So understanding this 4 layout is very important. Canvas layout is nothing but default layout. Wherever you place this particular component, that's where it will appear. Okay, because I have selected, it got selected. And We have already seen canvas layout with the example of label, and let's go to description. You've seen this. I have added 4 elements, 4 labels, and they can be arranged one below other and whichever way we want. So let's try to add label here. And okay, so there are already 2 labels. Yeah, third way to change the label is directly you just change it here. 1, 2, 3. So this element you have added, and we will format it. If you see, if we will execute it, they will appear wherever they are. This is exactly what is canvas. Now if it is block, if you want to, just like a block you typically arrange one top of other. If you want that type of layout, then you will go for block layout, and the moment we'll change it to block layout, just see even our chart will be arranged in the block. See, 2, 1, 3 and block. So that's how, and it is really arranging in the sequence, in the sequence in which you added the same sequence, these elements will appear. And changing the sequence is difficult, and you will have to remove that element and further elements and re-add all those elements. And typically this is the problem when you are working with table view. So this is that was the block view, and by the way, we are at slide 71. So if there will be maybe 10 more slides, can we extend by a few minutes? I believe Madhu is in EST zone, right? Is it fine if we can extend by another maybe 20 minutes? Okay, meanwhile Somesh has asked the question. I understood that making changes to XML will invalidate the report. But in your experience, did you ever see the need to change the XML files that were created and the changes were made using Metadata Designer? I understood that. So Somesh is asking, I understood that making changes to XML will invalidate the report. So Somesh, what do you mean by making changes to XML? Are you saying you are talking about XML within PRPT? Okay, yes, about XML within PRPT. Well, it's not about recommendation, Somesh. As far as my experience is concerned, I never created report by creating PRPT on my own. But if you'll ask me, as far as PDI is concerned, data integration, yeah, a lot. In fact, we never used to use PDI for designing workflow, but rather our workflow only once, first time we used to do that, and later on all the XML. In fact, PDI is something which is totally XML based. It is not zip, so single XML. And PDI XML files we used to create through program only, because at runtime we will get to know what is the name of the column, how to profile. So to profile, what is the name of the database schema. So all those things used to be known at runtime. And in fact, that masking tool when I was working on, One time we used to connect to database and it used to pull all the available table names. That was through Java program, and that's where a lot of dynamism was added at the time of PDI. But on PRPT, I don't think, because this is design tool. Typically, it is a designing meaning where layout is concerned, layout is involved. So you need to see to feel it. So it is not recommended, but depending on your uh, competency, I would suggest, if you are too competent, without even looking at testing the style, you can write CSS, then yeah, you can do that. There is no issue as such. Okay, so I am extending it by few more minutes, and let's quickly cover the concepts of layout. So we saw canvas layout, we saw block layout. Now this is the third layout, is inline layout. Now inline layout, as the name suggests, again it is arranging in a sequence, but inline layout, it doesn't bother your height of the element. So all the elements are arranged horizontally, one after other. So beginning at the top of a element of the containing block. Horizontal padding margins will be considered. So you will have to individually configure for that element those margins and paddings, but those will be honored. In few layouts they are not honored while placing the elements. If the boxes have variable heights, then their tops or bottoms may be aligned. So we will quickly try it out. Oh, I have. Okay, now I will change it to, we have seen block, we will see inline. You will see first is 2. Let me add the border to this so that it will be prominently visible. So if you want to add the border, you'll have to go to border and you'll have to select top style as solid, left style as solid, bottom style solid, and right style solid. Also it is 0, so I'll assign it to 1. 1. To change that 0 value, you'll have to double click using your mouse. Sometimes it is pain. Yeah, so it is more intuitive. So this is the inline, canvas we have already seen. Then the second one we saw was block, and you can see intelligently it has taken all the available space for laying out the border. Then the third one we were studying inline. So in inline, the minimum possible size will be occupied by that particular element, and it will be arranged on the top. So because bar chart is having more height, so remaining element are arranged on the top. So this strategy is used to produce rich text content. So especially when you have multiple articles which are split in smaller paragraphs, in that case you will go for this type of layout, inline layout. Row layout, which is the most common layout for tables. So this layout positions elements one after other on a horizontal axis. All the elements are printed on a single row, expanding their heights as needed. So if I will change it to row, so you can see here it is arranged one after other. You can resize their height. So even if you resize the height, it will retain that height. So typically this is the layout used when you are creating tabular report. In fact, we will be creating tabular report in the example. So these are the 4 basic layouts, and in this example we will use one layout example. Which is that layout? Row layout. Now we will be using second sheet. So I will go to here. I will create new empty report. The first step of the workflow is create dataset. So I selected dataset, did right click on table. Now I will have to add by click on the plus sign. I will say default. You can name anything. I'm using default. Now I'm going to import from spreadsheet. You can use the same spreadsheet, and the data is now on second sheet. Okay, so before I import, let me switch to that second sheet. Open this data, it's here, and here we go. So here there are top 100 companies. Yeah, top 100 companies, global list. I have extracted from Forbes survey, and it is listing down sales, profit, asset, market value. Now let's represent it in the report. So select sheet 2, click on OK. Now here by default it is adding string. So here the rank, first of all, it is double, that is good. Then here company and country, it has added string. Then here sales, it is double. Profit, it is double. Asset, double. And market value. Oh no, it's a pen. Okay, I can double click. Let me resize the window so that I will be able to see it. Yeah, it is double. I'm not able to resize the last column. Typically you can resize last column and it will add scroll bar at the bottom, but this particular dialog is not allowing me. But rest of the dialogues I have seen in Pentaho allows that. Yeah, so this is how, and this has got intelligence. It has automatically selected this to be more precise. This is not really double rank, but it can be number, so you can choose plain number. But let's not play with that. Let's go with default. So we are done with import, and let's click on OK. And now we will add elements. Now here the first slide is explaining you adding page header. So you're adding page header with title and then some background. These things, I think they're too trivial, so you guys can play around with that. And then we are adding 5 labels. So depending on our data, we are adding 5 labels: rank, company, country, profit, sales, and MCAP. And by the way, this we are adding in page header, which is going to repeat on each page. So that's the reason we are adding in page header. Can anybody, while I explain the example, can anybody tell me the scenario in which case you will add the element in report header? So what could be the context or scenario or use case in which you will add the element in report header? Yeah, so report header, not report header, in page header we are adding those labels I just now described. So those are just labels. Oh, I added resource label. That was wrong. This is label. I have removed it. I am adding 5 labels. 1. Oh, each time I will have to click. 2. Yeah. So before while adding, I will also set the layout as row layout. Here I have selected page. See, each time I add, that selection goes for a toss. So that is a little pain. I will have to select each time. Then again I select page header 4 and I am adding last level. So it is going, your report is crossing the boundaries. So let's change the layout. So there are two ways, either you shrink the label size or you can increase later extra. If you have flexibility, you can increase it. Now in the label, first one is rank. So we rename it to rank. So you can rename it from here, rank. Then the second one is, we're saying company, then country, profit, sales, MCAP. Company, country, profit, and sales. Profit, sales, and the third one, the last one is MCAP. Okay, see, I have to select first header and then that one is MCAP. Now obviously I cannot increase the width because it's not standard size. It wouldn't be standard size. So instead of that, I will play with the width. So I will shrink rank because rank width I don't want too much. So I will reduce it to 20. Okay, and okay, so rank is not fitting in. So let me try out with 40. Yeah. So all these 5 labels we have added. Okay, so meanwhile I got some answers, it seems. Yeah, it's from Somesh and from Prashant. So okay, so the question was, in which case you will add something in the report header. So field names that appear on each page. Well, Prashant, you're saying field name that appear on each page will be added in report header. That is not. The one right now we're doing, we're adding page header, and that is what will appear in each page, not report header. Okay, Somesh is saying when the header is to be shown only once in the report. Absolutely, yeah. So that is when, this is the scenario. For example, you want to mention, let's say you are generating invoice, multi-page invoice, and on the invoice you have address details. So invoice from, invoice to. So those details you don't want to be repeating on each page. So that is the perfect example of report header. It should appear only once on the first page. So that would be the scenario. Now we can reduce, so page header we don't want that big. Another one you can configure quickly. By the way, you can select all the elements by dragging the mouse like this, holding shift key down and dragging the mouse, and we can quickly configure some text background. Okay, so here we'll choose what I want, blue. select his color and background color, I don't know, this color. Oh, edit reverse, actually this should have been background. So it gives you hex code also, color code. So I'm just swapping them. Okay, this I want little. So let's make it white only. And we can make it bold. So bold, true. And we can change the size. And let's say 14. Now here is our column header ready. We can add details. For details, adding details, you cannot add label. Instead, you'll have to add field. Now there are two types of field: text field, numeric field. So depending on your data type, you're going to smartly select that appropriate field. Now rank is our numeric field. So we will add this field under details band. Again, for details band, we will change the layout. So this is the details band. We will change the layout to row layout. And first is numeric field, second is company. Company is string, so text field. Okay, again I will have to select details band and then add text field. Then country is again text field. Then profit is numeric, so we'll add numeric. Then sales, remaining all are numeric. MCAP is also numeric. That's it. Now number field, we will change it to, we had selected 40, so let's keep the width 40. Yeah, here we go. Now we are good. What is missing so far? Can anybody point out? We have designed the layout, we have added table header, we have added details. Now we have to present the data in tabular way in PDF. So anybody can point out what is missing, important thing? I have selected the rank numeric field and I will go to attributes. Somebody assign the values to the fields. Perfect. Yeah, Somesh, you are too genius, Somesh. So we are assigning the values. So basically we are mapping fields with this text field. Now here in the field you should be able to see the drop down and the rank. So this is the rank. Similarly, text field you can assign. This is company. For country you can again assign company. Oh, sorry. Then for profit you can assign profit. For sales you can assign sales, and for MCAP. Okay, so either you can choose from drop down or it also pops up with those three dot button. So MCAP is the first one. Market cap is nothing but MCAP. So we are done as far as tying the strings are concerned. Now let's execute. Now in PDF you can see all data in Excel is brought in the PDF format and with nice header, but details, there are no demarcations, rank is arranged but it is not aligned, it is left aligned. Then profit, okay, I'll make it bigger so that you can see it in much better way. So you can see if profit, if you want to quickly compare, unless it is not right aligned, it is difficult to check. Whereas this 27 doesn't look good. It should be with dot 0. Even if it's not there, then you should add dot 0. So that padding should be there. So to make it nicer, you have options. I will close it. So let's add that. So first of all, there was no border. So after each row, if you want to add border, again, this is depending on requirement. Sometimes it may not be required. And we have already seen how to add border to individual element. So there are multiple ways you can add border. First is either you select individual elements and you can add top and bottom, and then for one element right side border. You cannot add all elements right and left, otherwise it will be two borders. So the line will be more thick. Or else in details you can add border, so top border and bottom border. So top border is not required because bottom border will be repeating. So understand this is a reporting engine and it works recursively. So it executes the job and prepares the job report line by line. So there is a border. Okay, I am on attribute. I was looking for border. So here it is border. We are going to add only top, only bottom, not top. So bottom style is none. We'll select it to solid. Then bottom style, yeah, and bottom size, let's make it 1. Depending on how thick border you want, you can, if you want very thin border, then you can go for 0.5 as well. So you can see one nice tiny line appearing, and for the top one I'm skipped. The reason is there is already this bar, header bar appearing, and which doesn't need any border, so I have skipped that. Now formatting, for rank we can just do right align. All these some tiny features you can explore on your own, but as these will make the course complete, the example complete, I am demonstrating how to do that. So horizontal align, right now it is left, you can make it right. Then company and country, oh, so this is company and I believe this I wrongly mapped. Yeah, so this should have been country. So company, country or text fields can be left aligned. Profit, again for profit we should do it right align. Instead of left, it should be right aligned. On top of that, on profit we saw like 27 billion. If our list count is 1 decimal, then we should add numeric formatting as well. So here profit is a numeric field, number field, and that's why you can see format. And here in the format, just like in previous example we had added 1000 separator. So to denote 1000 separator, this is how it is, and then dot 0. In fact, if there is just decimal value, then you should also use this as a formatter. So this is the standard format, standard practice. So I'm going to copy it, which we'll be using for the remaining two. In fact, you can select both at a time and add that formatting. Yeah, So it is there for both fields, and this should be again right aligned. So I will select both fields. I will do right align. Yeah, so these are few tricks. Rather than you selecting each element and changing the format, if some common format needs to be applied, select all the elements in one go and apply the formatting. Or else you can apply formatting to one element and then copy and paste it. But few styles cannot be pasted. So that's where the trick is. You need to better select all the elements at once. So now I'm going to execute and print preview. Report definition I changed. Do you want to save it? Okay, I am not going to save it, but you guys can save it for your example. Okay, so now you can see rank and company. There is no margin at all. So those numbers, those values are mixed, and rest of the report is pretty good now, and there is no vertical line. Now again, this is depending on your requirement, but we can add vertical line by selecting individual element, and for each element then we can add right border. So right style, instead of none we can say solid, and here it is 1. For company again we'll have to do the same. So I am going to select all and we'll add right border, right border, right style solid, it is 1. So one more thing we wanted to do. So what was that? So we added border. Yeah, so there was no margin. So on the rank, as it is right aligned, we should add right margin. So margin is there. Yeah, so padding. Here we can add, let's say 2. So you can see the 2 may be little less, so we'll add 5. So from the right side, it will move the element 5 pixel towards left. So the ending point position should be 5 pixel away from the right side, rightmost side. So this is what we have done, and the same we can apply it for all numeric fields so that they will look nicer. So we want to add right padding. Where did it go? And for company and country, same for left padding because they are left aligned. And we will see it. So you can see we have added the borders only on right side. That's why it is added only on right side. So first one, and it is cumulative. So that's why for country, let's take example of country, you don't need to add on left side because company's right side border is already visible. And you can see for a rank, there is no left side border. So for rank, you will have to explicitly add left side border. Now if you will add for company right side border as well, so I just wanted to demonstrate how it will just ignore, because it doesn't have intelligence that border is already available for the previous element and I should not add more border. So for a company, let's say I am adding left border as well. So for company and rank, I am adding left border. and will execute. Let me maximize it. Yeah, so can you see this is a thicker line? The reason is rank's right side border and company's left side border are overlapping. Not overlapping, are laid one after other. That's the reason this is more thicker line and it doesn't look good. So that's why you should be more careful and use only one thin line. So this is how tabular reporting can be done. Now we will quickly see mapping data is done. Okay, this 1000 separator we already seen. Alignment. So alignment is basically we are using a row layout, that's why it's not required, but alignment is something you select those elements and do alignment. So let me illustrate it in other example. So like these are the elements. Now if you want to align these labels horizontally on a single line, then you can select 3 and align them top or middle. So let's say middle. So it will be automatically aligned. So you don't need to play with your mouse because it becomes really difficult unless you have touch screen. So that was about alignment, and this was the example we already seen the outcome. Now conditional formatting. We want to, yeah, this is where one small expression we are going to use. So conditional formatting is where, so maybe 5 more minutes. The problem is wherever the country name is China, we have to make it red. So that is the problem. How can we do it? So this is the solution. Select country field, data field, and then on there is a small button plus. So this is country field, and this is style and color. So font color is this is text color, and this is plus. So click on plus, and this is your edit expression. Now it will open edit expression dialog. Switch to the properties tab, and basically you'll have to type in the formula with the expression. So if this is expression language, you'll have to understand its syntax, how to read it. So if, capital if is a normal case statement, then in the round bracket you can see first, this is just like Excel, first element is condition, and to represent the dynamic value of column you are using square brackets. So in square bracket you are saying country, if country matches with China, then colon, and if yes, then it will return the value red, if no, then it will return the value blue. So now we are going to type in that formula here. If country, actually it also gives you UI, and here like it is showing country, and you can select, you could have selected from pop-up country, but I am pretty comfortable directly typing in the formula, but depending on your ease, you can select country, then you can select value, and you can see how it gets appeared here. So if country equal to China, then should return me. So the condition got appeared here. So this is my test. If yes, then it should return me red dragon. Otherwise main in blue, so blue, and bracket complete. And for that, let's make all in blue, so that way it will be prominent. Text color, can I type in blue? So only country is the one which is conditional format. Now we will execute. Boom. So something is wrong, it hasn't applied. So let's go back and check country. Where did we apply the formula? Text color, here it is. If it is China, red, or else blue, and this is text color. This should have worked, and we have selected country. Okay, let me check that here. So is it showing syntax error here? No, this is correct. Red and blue. Let's try to save it and see if saving is creating issue. No. And if I will do hard-coded condition. Okay, this is country, and what are the values? Values are China. That is correct. That is correct. Country is equal to China. At least somewhere the other way it should evaluate. If let's say companies sales is sales. I'm just changing the condition. If sales is, let's say, less than how much? 200. Then it is red, otherwise it is green. And let's see. Oh, something is going wrong. What is it saying? 4 pages document is untagged. I don't know on this. Let me see if this is working somewhere else as well. Background color. Because center. Strange. It should have worked. Let me open the reference example, which was is it working here? Okay, it is working here, and expression is also same, and text color, this is country. Okay, let me close this. I'm copying was oh, what was the issue? I didn't understand. Okay, let us type again manually. It seems some spelling mistake or something was there. Where is it? Conditional formatting, country. Here we typed country, China, red, blue. I should have copied the previous string. Okay, but let us see. No. Just now it worked. Okay, it's showing some error. Let's see. IO exception, save failed. Oh, that has nothing to do with this. Okay, so let's not spend everybody's time here. I will, column name is sensitive, Somesh. Okay, okay, that can be the issue. But regardless, actually, it should have, column name is what? Column name is anyways country. But my point is, either way it should evaluate the expression, either true or false. And it is not evaluating expression, so it's not assigning any value. Like here, this is the reference example I had created earlier, and it's working fine. So not sure that report has some global setting got set. I'm now again copying from the working example. Okay, so what you are saying here, country, China. Let me copy it somewhere. So this is country China, this, and I'm going to, okay, this is consistently working. Let me close this reference one and let us add new criteria. As we were saying, sales, if it is greater than 200, then if yes, then let's say green, you are more in green, otherwise you are in red. And let's see if it is working. Okay, cool. So that is working. Let me generate. Yeah, so probably then, as Somesh is saying, there must be some case related issue. So wherever the cell is more than 200, it is green, otherwise it is red. And the same formula can be applied Okay, Somesh is giving more explanation. Thank you, Somesh. Yeah, so same formula can be applied, same expression across all columns. So that complete row will be governed by that condition. So again, this is really depending on your requirement. But if your requirement is like that, so you can see like this. So complete row is red if its cell is less than 200, otherwise green if it is greater than 200. So this is a plain expression. There can be even more complex expressions.